Hi everyone, happy Friday! Welcome to Freelancer Live. It is Black Friday. I hope you all had an amazing Thanksgiving. All right. Okay. All right. I left for just a moment so that I could turn on my Do Not Disturb. Okay, can everybody see me okay? For some reason, I look very dark on my own screen. I do not know why, so let me know if you can't see me. If something is wrong, I can definitely restart or try to fix this if there's a problem. But I hope you're all having a great day. As we're waiting for people to get on, I just want to remind you to shop small this holiday season. And if you don't know where to start, definitely check out the We Are Women-Owned Holiday Pop-Up and Gift Guide. The sweatshirt I'm wearing today is made by my guest, Mo, today from Tie Die Tonic, and she is part of the holiday pop-up as well. So definitely check that out. Okay. Whoever's here, can you give me a thumbs up if you can see me? For some reason, my screen looks very dark on my end, so I don't know if it's coming through okay. So if you don't mind letting me know, just want to make sure it looks good before we get started here. Okay, great. Yay. Okay, awesome. Awesome. Okay, cool. All right. Yay, I'm happy to see you guys. All right, let me get my guest here. Gonna welcome Mo in today. I'm so excited. Hi.
Hi.
How's it going?
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Recovering.
Good. I love your tie-dye.
Christmas. Thanksgiving's over. Christmas is here.
Yes, it is time. I'm a big holiday fan, so I love that.
Me too.
How's your day going so far?
It's been great. I'm at my parents' house in New Jersey right now. I'm upstairs in what used to be the room that I did my homework in as a child. So it's now the room that my mom teaches from, because she's also a teacher. So she does her at-home lessons from here. So I'm at her / my old desk. But yeah.
Amazing. What does she teach?
She teaches Spanish also.
Okay, awesome.
Yep.
Aw, that's awesome.
We
Taking
actually
out your mama.
we worked together for 2 years. We taught at the same school for 2 years, and we shared an office, which was pretty cool.
No way. That's amazing. My mom was a guidance counselor, and so she was a guidance counselor at the same school I went to school with. And my mom's my best friend, so I loved being in the same place with my mom all of the time. But it's so nice. It's nice to have that like friendly, familiar face, especially a mom. If you like are having a bad day, it's like the best.
Exactly. And it's helpful too because my mom teaches / taught the same thing that I do. So I still pick her brain every now and then. And this year I normally don't teach, but this year I am teaching just to cover for one of my colleagues that's not in school this year. And so it's been nice to pick her brain and deal with like online teaching and hybrid learning and everything that came our way last year and this year. So yeah, it's been great. And my mom's my best friend too. So it's really good to have her in my corner. Yeah.
Aw, I love that. Well, welcome today. I am so happy to have you. I can't wait to introduce you and read your bio to everyone because you are so impressive. I'm like ultimately impressed. Like every time I have one of these, when I get someone's bio, I'm like, what the heck? Like, how is everyone so amazing? But of course, I'm going to start off just introducing myself and what this is so that anyone who's joining us for the first time knows what they're watching. And then I'll introduce you and we'll get into a chat. All right, so my name is Erin Coles, and I am the co-founder of a wedding band collective here in New York called the Metropolitan Players, and I run that alongside my husband. And when the pandemic started, I have so many friends in the arts, so many business owner friends. I just really wanted to open up a platform for people to tell their stories and talk about their journeys and share what's been going on during the pandemic. So I started Freelancer Live, where I chat with business owners, gig workers, and freelancers about their stories. And I'm so excited to welcome Mo here today. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yay. Okay, tell me if I'm saying your full name correctly. It's Christina Vazquez Mauricio.
Perfect.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So I'm so excited to have you here today. I'm going to read your bio, and then I want to hear directly from you all about your journey.
Sure.
So by day, Mo is a school administrator at a school district in Connecticut, where she leads a team of world language teachers in grades 6 through 12. By night, she designs hand-dyed clothing for her brand, Tie Dye Tonic. We're both repping Tie Dye Tonic today, by the way. After graduating from the George Washington University and working as a paralegal in Manhattan, she quickly realized that a life behind a desk was not for her. She began a career in education by teaching high school Spanish and earned an MA in Spanish Literature and Linguistics from Universidad de Salamanca in Salamanca, Spain. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Yep.
And an MA in School Leadership and Administration from the Graduate School of Education at Rutgers University. She speaks 4 languages fluently, loves to cook, travel to visit her family in Spain and Portugal, and spends time with her husband and their 1.5-year-old daughter, Sophia. So Mo, welcome.
Hi, thank you.
Of course. I'm so happy to have you here today. So why don't you just share a little bit about your journey, like where you started from little Mo all the way to where you are today.
Okay. Let's see. So I grew up in New Jersey. I went to school in New Jersey. I went to an all-girls Catholic high school, and then I went to GW for my undergrad. And then I started working in Manhattan, thought it would be the best thing ever because I wanted to be a lawyer, and everyone starts off being a paralegal. And I hated it. Like within a month, I was like, this is not for me. I started working there in the summer of 2008, and then like everything happened in 2008. And
yeah, what a time.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. And a lot of people lost their jobs, and the only people that got to keep their jobs were people that spoke more than one language because all of our business was happening abroad. And then, so I stayed working there for 2 years. And while I was working there in the second year, I said, I need to change. I don't like what I'm doing. And my mom, who's been a teacher for a really long time, said, you'd be a great teacher. You love Spain. You love art. You love traveling. You'd be such a great teacher. So while I was working in Manhattan, I went back to school to earn enough. Well, I had also graduated with a BA in Spanish, but I didn't have enough teaching methods courses to actually get a teaching license. So I did that, and then I applied to the state of New Jersey for a license. I got it. I started working, and then I worked in New Jersey for 7 years before I moved to Connecticut, and then I started teaching in Connecticut, and then that's when I got my master's in school administration. The program that I went to in Spain allowed you to take your classes in the summer and write your dissertation in the year between both summers. So I did that too. So I've always been the kind of person that does like multiple things at the same time.
Yeah.
Which we'll probably talk about a lot.
We sure will.
And so it's like really my calling to be in education and be in teaching. And I love the age group that I work with. I primarily taught juniors and seniors in high school. And then when I moved to Connecticut and started in my admin role now, I work with middle school students as well. And this year I'm actually teaching 8th grade, which is so fun. It's an interesting age, but they really want to be there. They really want to learn Spanish. And then I also get to support my colleagues with teaching methods. And now education has changed completely. And I'm happy that I'm actually doing the work so that I can assist them through it too. Because normally I wouldn't be teaching because administrators don't teach. So I'm really happy that I have, my hands in it so that I can help them as I'm doing the work myself, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Let's see. Then I got married, and then I had a baby, and so So yeah, a lot of things going on at the same time, but it's been an interesting like 10 years since switching careers. And a lot of the adults in my life had always said, oh, you'd be such a great lawyer. You love to talk. You love to argue, not in a bad way, just like look at things from multiple angles. You'd be so good. You'd be so good. And then once you actually do the work and you realize this isn't for you, you have to really say to yourself, you know, I need to make a change because I don't want to be doing this for the rest of my life. And yeah, so that's it. That's pretty much it in terms of like school and work resume. That's it.
Yeah. And then, okay, so you started your business, Tie Dye and Tonic, during the pandemic, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's insane and amazing. Tell us a little bit more about that. Tell us about the inspiration to start your business and how it's been going since you did.
Sure. So I knew that I wouldn't be able to see my really close girlfriends in a really long time. The girls from the all girls high school that I told you about. And so I said, you know, I want to send them something that is going to commemorate the time that we're living in. So I got these aprons. I bought a tie-dye kit. And I said, no, I'm going to make myself something, because everything that I had found online was either not good quality, overpriced, not the colors that I wanted, took too long to get here, sold out. And I said, you know what, I can do this myself, because I'm a really artistic person, really creative. In my master's program, I did a ton of like art history classes, and I got this, I can do this. So I bought a kit, and I bought these aprons, and I tie-dyed them. I put their names on them, and I sent them off, and they were like, oh my God, this is the coolest thing ever.
That's so cute.
And I had a ton of leftover dye, so I said, I'm going to use it. So I found old t-shirts and dishcloths and towels and everything. So I dyed everything in my house. It was my husband who was like, you know, this is pretty cool. You should try selling some of it. So I said, I don't know. So I opened up an Etsy store. And I've been shopping on Etsy for like 10 years. Like if you go to my Etsy store, you'll see like on Etsy since 2010, because I buy everything that I can on there. And a lot of it sold very quickly. And then I started getting requests from friends like, hey, can you do this on a sweatshirt? Can you do this on a t-shirt? Can you do this on, can you add pants? Can you add boxer shorts? So I said, all right, this is getting kind of serious and people are really interested. So I'm going to look into how I can do this legitimately. So I bought dye, like professional grade dye, the dye that I use now that doesn't fade. It's, you know, there's a whole method to how you have to prepare your clothes, blah, blah, blah. So I bought that. I opened an LLC and I started adding product by product and different patterns, and people would request things. And then if it was something that someone else would really like, I would take pictures of it, catalog it, put it on the Etsy shop, and then other people could start buying that too. And then that's how it started. And I started with saying to myself, I'm only going to have 3 items of each in stock at a time. And now I'm at like 20 of each item in stock at a time. And so everything is made to order, because I don't want to waste clothes. I want to just buy things as I need them. I don't have any inventory. I mean, there are some things that are ready to ship, like t-shirts and stuff that are, you know, made already that will ship tomorrow, face masks, stuff like that. But anything like what you and I are wearing right now, it's all made to order, so that I can ensure that not only it's unique, 100% unique for you, but also that I'm only using the products that I need to use. And yeah, so I didn't think anything was going to come of it. I just said, you know, we'll try it out, we'll see. And then it started to get to the point where it's kind of like a second job at this point, because people really like it and I enjoy doing it. And yeah, so I said to myself from the beginning, I'm going to make this a legitimate business. And I started with the LLC and then the bank account and, you know, moving on from there. But yeah, it's been interesting. And the nice thing is I can do it from home. I can do it in my house. That's where I do it now. I have some like really big orders coming up that will require me to use my garage because I just don't have any room in my house.
Wow.
And so yeah, that's kind of how it started. I mean, it's a baby. The business is still in its infant stages. And now you add everything like, you know, social media marketing and running ads on Facebook. And it was in the summer when I joined the We Are Women Owned Sisterhood. And that's when I started to use all of those resources too, like all of our support calls and our, like the call that we had with Nina Jays, where, you know, you just start going in a deep dive on how Facebook ads work. And you're like, wow, this is crazy. And then after that, I ran one ad, and in that day I got 10 sales. I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm just pressing all these buttons. I'm like, yeah, sure, Facebook, take my money. And I got 10 sales on that day. So yeah, so it's grown very quickly, but at a pace that I can handle, which is also nice. So yeah.
I mean, congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks.
That's incredible.
Thank
It's so crazy. I think so many people go into business sort of not really understanding or realizing like what it's going to really be like, or having like gone into it because of something like this, like, oh, you saw that this would brighten someone's day, so you did it, and then now it's like a full-fledged business that you have to put on the side of everything. It's crazy. And so why tie-dye? What was it about tie-dye that really like drew you to not only wanting to do that for your friends but continue it as a business?
So the clothes that I personally wear, like to work, for example, I will wear like one statement piece. So if it's like I love like printed pants. Those are my thing, right? So like brightly printed pants, or really cool shoes, or like a bright shirt or sweater with like black pants. And so I've always really liked clothes that when you look at it, you're like, whoa, this is so cool. And then I also really like things that are handmade. And my grandma and my mom, they made all my Halloween costumes growing up. My grandma like crochets everything. Like she's an expert with her hands. My mom, if I tell her, oh, can you make me this? She'll make it. She'll make like curtains for her house. She always, but it's always been that way. So when you couple wanting clothes that's bright and fun with wanting something handmade, like that's what I look for when I buy my own clothes. And that's why I buy a lot of things on Etsy, because that's exactly what people are doing on Etsy. And with tie-dye itself as a method, there's so many different types of patterns and color schemes, and just like I said, patterns that you can create that when you untie something and you go to wash it, it's like, whoa, this is so cool. So it's an instant, like I call it like an eyeball massage, because you look and you're like, whoa, this is so cool. And I think, you know, when I started doing research into why it started, how it started, why it was so popular, why it's always been so popular, and why it's especially popular now. And it's really like a sign of the times, right? In the mid 60s, late 60s, early 70s, you know, everything that was going on with the country at the time, people turned to it as like a countercultural type thing.
Yeah.
And then especially now with people are home, so they want to make or explore ways that they can make it at home, or I want something that is going to bring me joy when I put it on and I'm sitting at my house, or I want to buy something or make something that when I go out of my house, people are going to be like, whoa, that's so cool, because it's bright and it's, you know, different and it's a cool pattern. And so for me, it's really like the infinite possibilities that exist. And then being able to make something that someone wants specifically. Like I get a lot of requests for like, oh, I saw this on Amazon, but the reviews say that the quality is bad, but I really like the colors. Can you make this? said, yeah, sure, send me a picture and I'll make it. It's not going to come out exactly the same, but I can mimic the pattern and the colors, and that brings me a lot of joy too, because then they'll message me back like, oh my God, it smells so good and it's so bright and it's so cool. And that just makes me happy that, you know, amongst all the bad that's going on, and you know, there's the news is just so negative, and people have been sitting at home, and you know, we're glued to the TV and everything is bad all the time. And if I can just make your day brighter by opening a package that's a gift for you or a gift for someone else, and you open it up and you're like, oh my God, this is so nice, and look, it makes me happy when I put it on. Like that just brings me so much joy too. So yeah, I think it's a combination of the handmade aspect of it, the infinite possibilities, and just how happy it makes people when they put it on, and or when they see someone wearing it.
I love that so much. And I'm going to take this moment to do a little plug for you, because your stuff is so amazing.
Thank you. Thanks.
And okay, so Yumi said, I've never been into tie-dye because I couldn't find a mixture of colors that complemented my skin. So I was always turned off. And I know that I told you this as well. Like, I've never been a fan of tie-dye either. I've just been like, it's just not me. It doesn't really work. I'm into like muted things, and like, I like black, and I like it, you know, I'm just like very plain in my dress, I would say. So like tie-dye was always like, no way. I can't even look at that. But just like the way that you have so many different colorways and so many different options, and that every single thing is so well made, and so, I mean, like, you are such an artist. You really, really are. And as soon as this is done, I mean, don't leave now because we want you to continue watching this for now, but please check out Tie Dye Tonic, because you'll see all the different colors, the different colorways, the different patterns and everything that she has. And I can almost guarantee you're going to find something that you love. So like, one reason I like this pattern, which is the sandstone pattern, as you can see here, is that it is kind of like more muted. It still is like interesting and fun and has like stuff going on, but it doesn't feel like it's too much for me. Yeah. Which was like something I could handle. And then of course I opened up this package and it was super high quality. Like, the fabric is so thick and warm and soft, and it smells like heaven. And all of her stuff, if you read any of her reviews, they all say how good it smells. It's so true. I actually haven't washed this yet. I've been wearing it sparingly so I can like hold on to the smell as long as possible. Yeah.
A lot of people, they'll reach out to me on Etsy like, I'm afraid to wash it. Like, how long can I go without washing? I'm like, you can wash it. It's okay. It's not going, you know, nothing. It's not going to fade. It's not going to wash out. But yeah, it's just the whole experience of opening something. You know, we all order from Amazon, and as much as we don't, you know, I'll say like, Jeff Bezos, no, holiday, shop small, support local businesses. Like, you need something last minute, you're going to go to Amazon, or you're going to go to Bed Bath & Beyond, and you get your package and you open it, and it's boring, and half of the time it's come apart in the mail. And so for me, it's like, no, I want, you know, you spend your money on this. It takes me a really long time to make. And when it gets to your house, or to the house of the person that you're sending it to, because I've made a lot of gifts for people, I want it to be an experience when you open it. So the packaging is black on purpose. Like, the outside is black, the inside is black. And when you open it, it's like, whoa, cool. Because, you know, it's like I don't know, like a gift to yourself is what I really want people to feel like when they open it. So, yeah.
I love that. I love that so much. And I love, like, you're so right how that's how you feel when you open it. And I love how much intention you had behind that. Like, that's the really cool thing about shopping small too, and like shopping from people, is the fact that like, there is that extra level of care that's put into it. Like, you actually thought about that. You thought about, okay, when someone opens it, I want them to like see the black first and then open it and see the color. Like, that's really, really cool. I love that. That's so cool. Thanks. Okay, I love you both. Total 6 degrees of separation. Who's that?
Jenna.
Which one of the people we know is that?
That's Jenna.
Okay, so I find it hilarious. Side note about how we are connected in so many different random ways.
Mm-hmm.
So Jenna's one of them. And then
you played my college roommate's wedding.
Right, Samantha.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so I can't believe also you weren't there. Like the one that would have been so amazing
So
if
funny.
you were.
Yeah.
I would have like gone through old pictures and been like, can I see her?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's so funny. And then We Are Women Owned, like brought us together, but it's so funny how small this world is. And I was just texting with or messaging with Samantha the other day, and she sent us a few photos from her wedding of the band, and I was like, this is so crazy.
Small world.
A small world.
A small world.
I love it. So so you are doing 500,000 million things at the same time.
Yes.
I know that you said that that's something that you have always done. I'm very similar. I've sort of always done a bazillion things, so I can feel you. But tell me about how you are managing it all, because between like, you know, working a full-time job and teaching, which you don't usually do. So you're an administrator, you're a teacher, you're running a business, you're a mom, you're a wife, like how the heck are you keeping it all together?
So last week you had on Elisa from Covedosa, and she said, she used the word integration, right? So instead of like work-life balance, it's work-life integration. And I had always thought of it that way, but no one had ever put it in words. And so when she said that, it was like, yes, that's it. That's exactly it. For me, my day looks something like this, right? So I get up in the morning, I get ready, I go to work. My husband, who used to work in Manhattan, is now working at home. So he takes our daughter to school, and then he comes home and he works, and I'm already out of the house. So when I'm at work, I am teaching, I'm with my colleagues, I'm observing classes, I'm, you know, doing work. And then when I leave school, I come home and I take care of home stuff, right? Like opening the mail, what home management stuff do we have to do? Either I or my husband will go pick up our daughter. She comes home, and then it's like strict family time from like 4:30 to about 7:30. Then we have dinner, she goes to sleep, and then I work my second job, Tie Dye Tonic. And on every other day is when I'm dyeing, and on the off days is when I'm washing and packaging. So that's sort of how my system goes. And then downstairs, where I have my shop / studio, there's like a couch, there's a TV table. So on the days that I'm packaging and ironing, I'll say to my husband, like, oh, you're watching, whatever, come downstairs. And he's like, I have to watch you iron. I'm like, well, yeah, but we can watch our like shows together.
Yeah.
So we'll do that, and then go to sleep, and then wake up and do the same thing the next day. And so what running a business out of my house at night has really forced me to do is leave work at work, like school work at school, because I used to not do that at all. Like I used to, and I don't know if it was poor time management or just thinking to myself, oh, I have so much to do, and I bring everything home with me and do everything at home and stay up until 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, getting things ready for the next day. So now I'm much more productive at school, and I'm able to be like razor focused on school, so that when I do get home, I'm not doing my schoolwork. And I mean, there are nights where I do have to take the night off because I have something that's time sensitive for school that I need to work on, but it's really forced me to have much better time management. And then a lot of tools that I use for the business are automatic, right? So I use Planoly for like social media. So the posts go, like I'll be at work, but the posts go live and they're all prepared a couple days before. So I'm not really thinking about that because it's just automatically generated. That's something that I learned from the sisterhood, because I never would have known to do that myself. And so just finding ways to like make things automatic, be a better scheduler, time manager. And aside from managing myself better, I also have learned to ask for help, because that's my blessing and my curse is I do not ask for help. And I have learned to do that. So my I joke around as my father-in-law is my courier. He'll come to the house and be like, do you have packages for me? And my husband will be like, yeah, those bags over there. And then he'll take them to the post office for me. So it's one less thing I have to do during the day. On weekends, we, spend a lot of time with my in-laws, my daughter's grandparents. We spend a lot of time with them. So if I have to do something on like a Saturday morning, my husband will take my daughter to the park and she'll hang out with her grandparents and then come home and we spend the rest of the weekend together. So even though it's not necessarily help with the business itself, it is help with the business because it's like freeing up time so that I can spend on it. And Elisa put it perfectly. There are some times when your personal life will have to take a back seat so that you can work on your business. And there are times when your business will have to take a back seat because you have to work on your personal life or your family life or your career life. And it's true. Like I said, it wasn't until she said that like integration thing that it made sense to me. And I feel like we get caught up a lot. Like, oh my God, I'm so busy. I'm so busy. I'm so busy. Like busy culture isn't cool. Like it's not cool to be busy all the time, but it really is just like managing your time better and knowing where your priorities are.
Yeah, I love that. And I love what's really cool about you that I'm noticing as I'm getting to know you more and more is how open you are to picking up these new pieces of information and just like running with them and learning from
absolutely.
them. It's so great. I mean, I always think back to the more that I'm talking to more people and more business owners, I'm thinking back to when we started our business. My husband and I, we were 23 years old and we had so much pride. Like we knew everything and we were like, we don't need help. Like we've got this under control. We had both gone to school for business. We were like, we got this. We did not have it on our own. It took us like way too long to learn how to ask for help. And that asking for help is not only okay, but will help push your business so much further than if you just try to do everything by yourself. And one thing I would also love to ask you on top of sort of what you just said, because you mentioned the sisterhood a little bit and some of the things you've learned, like what are some resources and communities that you've been able to learn from and lean on as you've been building your business, which is still so new? Like what has been helping you throughout the whole process?
So I mean, the sisterhood's been number one, and not only attending the calls, like the lunchtime calls, they fit perfectly with my lunchtime at school, or just going through the archives and watching videos of the old calls or looking at articles and the featured businesses, just reading their story and how they got started. For me, in terms of like techniques and tie-dye techniques to make my process faster and more efficient, there are a lot of Facebook groups where like I've never really been a fan of them, and then I started Googling Facebook groups about tie-dye, and then you go on and people ask questions and you're like, oh my God, I was just thinking about that. And then you read the comments and you look at pictures like, oh, okay, cool. So then just seeing what other people are doing and learning from other people's successes or mistakes. And really it's been on Facebook has been like the biggest one for me. There are some online pages that like on Instagram that I've been following too. And you see the little grid post, and you're like, oh, that's cool, like little inspirational message. And then you're like, wait, they have a website, like Phenomenal Woman.
Yeah.
They make these really cool sweatshirts, and everyone's been, buying these really cool sweatshirts. Like my vice president is a Black woman. And you're like, okay, yeah, that's awesome. But then you go onto the website and you read the articles and interviews that they've done with other people, and you just learn from reading these stories. So it's really been learning from other people, and then not only asking for help in terms of like, oh, can you take my packages for me, but people that I know that are business owners who I've gone to and I've said, I'm thinking of starting this. What do I do? And the first thing that they all say is, okay, you need a bank account because your business's money is not your money. And I was like, oh, that's where all that money went from the springtime. Because, you know, it's deceiving when you're the sole proprietor and you make, you know, a nice little amount of money. You're like, oh, it's my money. And I'm like, oh, but I need a label printer and I need dye, and no, it's not my money anymore. It's my business's money. So I never would have known that had I not asked. And I think that openness to trying new things comes from the line of work that I'm in, because we've been forced to pivot very quickly. And so everyone in a state of like, I have no idea what's going on. Tell me. I've always been like that, but even more so now. Like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I have an idea of where I want to go. Can you help me get there? And finding all these tools has been really helpful. And I do that in my day job too at school. There are all these tech, like educational technology resources out there where, you know, if you don't try them, you don't actually know how they work. And so just give them a try. Maybe they'll work for you. And that's been for me too, just with business tools like Marmalade, which I discovered through We Are Women Owned. It's basically a hashtag generator, and you check on how hashtags are doing. And like, oh, cool. I never would have known that. So you type in your hashtag and it tells you this is where it is in terms of hashtags for your niche market. I'm like,
wow,
this is awesome. And so it, little things like that, where you hear, you know, little blips here and there, and then you're just like, yeah, I'm going to try that. Or that doesn't work for me. Or, hey, have you ever heard of this? Oh, you do? How does it work for you? And then just talking to people and seeing how things work for them has really been helpful for me.
Yeah. I love that. It's the best education. You don't have to go to business school to learn that. Like, you'll learn more from hearing directly from people who are using different software systems or who have been through what you're about to go through than you will from a textbook. So I love that. Okay, so let's switch gears quickly away from your business to your teaching and administration job, because this has been a wild year for education. And I sort of see it from the outside. So my husband is also an educator. He teaches at 3 different institutions in the college level. My dad is a school psychologist. So I've got like teachers all in my family, and I'm hearing about different things. But I would love to hear from your perspective, sort of what that was like when everything shut down at the beginning of this year, and how it's been since, you know, the start of this new school year, and what that's really been like for you from both an administrator perspective, like trying to manage people under that system, as well as from the teaching perspective, like how has that been going with teachers and students and everything?
So in the beginning, in March, I remember I looked at my 2019-2020 academic planner, and the end of February, beginning of March, every day there's like a ton of writing and like notes, and then it just stops on March like 15th. And so I remember the build up to that was like meeting after meeting after meeting, and in-person meetings, which now seems like a world away. In-person meetings where it's like think tank style, where we were all sitting around a room, around a table in a small room, and writing ideas on a whiteboard, and getting emails from our then superintendent, like, please come at this time on this day and be prepared. Like, we'll order dinner. And okay, we'll figure it out. And I think it was more like the fear of the unknown and planning for the unknown, like putting the cart before the horse almost. And then when you're actually in it, being responsive to people's needs. So there were a couple of days right after we closed where we had days off of school where there was no online learning. There was no one really knew how to use Zoom or Google Meet, or we didn't know what we were going to use, where we didn't have any classes, and it was just professional development for teachers to sort of help them get ahead a little bit. And then being able to get in those classrooms, online classrooms on Zoom, and helping my colleagues troubleshoot, and just watching, not from a judgmental, evaluative place, but from a, I'm just going to watch and see how it is, and I'll help you through it. And I remember saying to myself, like, oh, I wish I were doing that too, so that you could come and see me, or that we could learn from each other, because it's hard to take advice from someone that isn't experiencing it with you.
Right.
And I'm the kind of person that like leads by doing. So if I'm going to ask you to do something, I want to be able to show you how to do it, so that I'm not just telling. I'm actually providing you a model. But that's how teaching is, right? Like you give a model to your students and they follow it. And I found myself like not being able to lead by doing. And that's where my frustration came from, was I can't have a meeting with you and sit next to you and show you. And that was the hardest for me, from an admin point of view. And then from a just being a good colleague perspective, like let's meet and let's talk and just tell me how you're feeling, and learning how to be a good listener. Because as you can tell from this call, like I talk a lot and I like to talk, but it's really like, no, you are not experiencing this the way your colleagues are. Just listen to them and then give them a platform to showcase what's working for them, so that others can learn from them as well. Mm-hmm. And then that's what sort of framed our professional development for the rest of the springtime and the summer, and a little bit in the fall too, was giving our colleagues a voice to say, I teach math, this is what's worked for me. I teach a world language, this is what's worked for me. And make it less top down and more organic, grassroots, like, here, I'm showing you what I did. This is my authentic student work. And this is how I got there. Yeah. And we also, for a while, were operating with this mentality of like, no one's ever done this before, and this is uncharted territory. But people have been teaching online since the beginning of the internet, so it's actually not uncharted. And then finding those resources, like these are people that teach online, these are college professors, or these are teachers that teach online high schools. I discovered an online high school from a student of mine who had to leave school because she's a competitive figure skater, and she's been doing online school since she started middle school. And so I said, wait, what school? And she was coming back into the school district. So I said, where'd you go to school? And then I immediately like Google everything about this place. Like, what are they doing? How are they successful? And I remember saying that in the fall when school started, it's like, the spring was really like, oh, we've never done this before. But if you think about it, people actually have been doing this, and these are the lessons learned, and here are some articles and resources that you can watch on your own, read on your own. And my district went hybrid for the month of September, and then we were fully in person October and the beginning of November, and now cases are going up again, and so now we're back to hybrid. So we have half of the students for half of the week. And wow. I have a class of 8th grade students where I see 3 of them in person because of the way the alphabet works. I see 3 of them. It's like, oh, everyone's at home, and how do I balance, being an engaging teacher in person and also an engaging teacher online? And I've invited colleagues to come in and say, you can come if you want, you don't have to, but this is the makeup of this class. Come watch how I do it and critique me if I can do better, because I want to do better. But if you see something that works for you, steal it and take it, because we're really all in it together. And I work with a core group of administrators who are content area specialists like myself. And they're like, oh my God, you're teaching? Like, how? Because I have all these emails to answer. It's like, you know what? The hour and a half of my day that's dedicated to these kids, like, I don't look at my email. I don't look at anything. I'm just with the students, and it's a lot of work, but I'm so glad that I'm doing it, because if I can make one kid excited to come to school, then I've done my job. If I can make one of my colleagues' lives easier by, hey, I went to Christina's class and I saw her do this, and this worked for me, I've done my job.
Yeah.
And so it's really been like getting in the trenches and getting dirty and doing the work. And that's really been the bright spot in all this. It's like how much our kids are actually learning and how much they can learn if we all just work together and get in there together. And we're basically halfway through the school year. I can't believe it. I can't.
Crazy.
I can't believe it. But, you know, I have friends that work in districts where they're fully online. And I'm like, I understand that it's a privilege to be able to say, you know, our kids are in school, because that means that your district had enough money to spend on preparing schools. Like, schools aren't hospitals. They weren't built to function during pandemics, right? So spending money to prepare the schools so that the kids can come and our colleagues can come in and feel safe walking into the building. I mean, it's a privilege to be able to say that your school district could do that. And on the flip side of that, it's, well, if all your kids are online, that's privilege too, because your school district has been able to get them internet access and devices so that they can access their classes. And you know, the reality of it is, you know, no matter what you hear on the news, your class starts at 8 a.m. Those kids are going to show up and they're going to come for you. And so how can you make their experience as positive as possible? Don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah. I love how that's like a through line regardless of what we're talking about here. It's like, don't be afraid to ask for help, share information, gather information, just like be open to learning and be open to sharing. That's so huge. And so at least from the things I've heard from teachers and administrators right now, this whole experience has just been really difficult on a lot of people's mental health. So like, how have you been able to navigate that sort of as a leader of others in that space? And what would you maybe suggest to any of us who have educator friends or family and want to be able to support them better?
Yeah. So what's been helpful for me has been, out of necessity, needing to leave schoolwork at school. And like I said, I used to not do that. And so I would be on school all the time. And there are nights where you'll have to stay up grading, and I get that. But if you can tell yourself, I walk into the building at 7 and I leave the building at 3:30, 4 o'clock, that is the time during which you will do your schoolwork. And if you want to, and the flip side works too. Like, I've met with colleagues who say, you know, I really want to talk to you about this thing, but my kids go to bed at 8. Can I meet with you at 8:30? It's like, yeah, sure. And normally that wouldn't happen, right? I would never, you know, I've had phone calls with colleagues before, but it's like actual sit down, let's look at student work together at 8:30 at night. If that's what it's going to take for you to have that peace of mind to walk into your class the next day, I'll do that. And so it's really been being a better time manager, but also being more open to what works for other people. We have colleagues who their classes end early and they don't feel comfortable being in the school building. So it's like, okay, just let me know that you're leaving early on this day. I'm like, oh yeah, thank you so much. Like, just letting someone know, like, it's okay. If this is what is going to make you feel better, it's okay. As long as you're getting your job done, as long as the kids are learning, you're doing your lesson plans, the same thing you've always done, but with an understanding that it's going to look a little bit different, and the people that are watching you are okay with that. That's just goes leaps and bounds further than any professional development session you could sign someone up for. It's like, I understand you're having this problem. How can I help you? And you need this? Sure. You need to call me at 9:30 at night? That's fine. That's okay, because it's only going to make you that much better the next day. So it's really been being more open and more available and more flexible to other people. And in terms of my own mental health, I mean, I sort of alluded to this in a post with one of my sets the other day, where my business, because of the type of thing that I make, has been what has helped me, because
Yeah.
it's creative and it's new and it's like, whoa, how cool is this? And it's just like a little tiny mental break for the 10 minutes that it takes me to wash a set, where I'm just like, whoa, this is so fun, and I'm making someone else happy with this. Like, that makes me happy too. And I'm not saying open a business because it'll solve your mental health problems. I'm not saying that, but I will say that the compartmentalization of the school work and the business work has been very helpful. And the time that I spend with my daughter and my husband, it's like a little break in the day, also super helpful. And then the eyeball massage that I get when I open and a shirt is also extremely helpful. But just being open, if you're watching this and you're in a leadership role and you deal with other people who are dealing with this in their own way, just letting them know, like, I'm here, and I'm not just saying that because it's what I'm supposed to say. I'm here and I'm saying that because you tell me how I can help you. And if it's a phone call at 9:00 at night, that's fine. If it's come to my class and, don't judge me, just tell me what you see and help me work, that's fine too. Just making yourself available to other people, especially if you work on a team, because you're not going to be successful if your team is falling apart. So,
yeah. I love that. Your advice and all of your experiences, it's so interesting how, you might think of, okay, a business owner creating tie-dye and a teacher and like language expert, let's say, like all of them, like how like they really meld together in this really beautiful way that has made each part of your life, it seems like almost so much more fulfilling. Like, and you're able to enrich other people's lives in all of these ways just from like melding all of this stuff that you've learned. It's really, really cool. I love hearing that. And I love your advice. It's so great to sort of like set those boundaries. That is so true, regardless of whether you have a full-time job or have a business, sort of saying like you're shutting off at a certain time from one thing so that you can focus on something else. That's important is such a huge part of keeping your sanity every day and being able to like manage relationships and business and life and work and all of the things. I can't believe it's almost been an hour since we've been talking.
I know. I just checked the time.
It goes by so fast. I would love for you to sort of close out just by sharing where people can find and follow you. And since it is Black Friday, if you've got any deals going on for Tie Dye and Tonic, if you can share that as well, that would be lovely.
So on Instagram, you can find me there. I'm at Tie Dye and Tonic, and that's also the name of my Etsy shop. And the link to the shop is in the Instagram bio. And I just 10 minutes before we got on, I was able to fix my Etsy catalog and link it to Instagram, because Etsy and Instagram aren't seamlessly integrated. There's this like huge process you have to go through. So last night I was like, oh my God. So I finally cracked it and it worked.
Yay!
So if you only one works, I have to do the rest after I get off the phone with you. But for example, this set that I'm wearing right now, it's linked on the latest Instagram post, and you can click the little shopping bag and it'll take you right to the Etsy page. Super proud about that.
Awesome.
And yeah, so it's basically Instagram and Etsy. And I opened a TikTok this week to put my like process videos on TikTok. Oh, I'm working it, girl. I'm working it.
Amazing.
Yeah. So the handle is the same everywhere. It's just tie dye and spelled like A-N-D, tonic, and yeah, that's it.
Oh my gosh. I feel like I just want to chat with you forever. I had so much more to ask you, but go ahead.
And you asked about like deals going on for the holidays.
Yes.
So I'm in the We Are Women Owned virtual holiday pop-up, and everything in the shop is 50% off, 15% off with the code WAWO15, WAWO15. And starting today, anyone who purchases something made to order with that code, I'm throwing in a face mask to match. So you can get a face mask to match your tie-dye. And since everything is made to order, which cuts down on waste and inventory and having items that are wasteful, if you could order by December 8th so that you could get your items by Christmas, that would be fabulous. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me today. This was awesome.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. I really can't wait to chat with you more offline. Just one random quick thing I have to say, because I've been waiting to share this with you for whatever reason. I was like, oh, we'll have time to talk about this today. My grandmother is Portuguese. And so
that's right. Your dad is half Portuguese. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So we'll have to. I know like zero Portuguese, but I definitely want to learn. So you as language expert, maybe you can teach me a couple words every now and then.
Yes.
But
absolutely.
Thank you again so much for joining me today, Mo. You are amazing. Your story's
Thanks for
incredible.
Having me. Oh,
of course. Everyone, remember to shop small. Thank you for joining us today. Remember, check out Tie Dye and Tonic. I will put all of her information in the comments so you can go head to her Etsy and head to her website and all of that fun stuff. But thank you again, and happy Friday. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
I'll see you all next week.
All
Bye,
right.
everyone.
Bye, Erin. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.